Ladies and gentlemen, we are back, and today we're doing the week 4 my predictions. You're probably seeing this after the game, most likely, because this is filmed just a few hours before the Thursday night game comes out. Although I'm going to try to get it out before the Thursday night game comes out, so you don't think that I'm cheating. But yeah, so currently it is 5:23 and the game starts at 7:20, so 2 hours. So I'm going to try to get this up before then. But yeah, before we get started, I just want to remind you that Jesus is king, and I pray that you give your life to him, and just he has a plan and a purpose for everyone, and just believe that Jesus died on the cross for your sins. And if you believe that with your whole heart and confess with your mouth that Jesus is Lord, and you truly believe that, you can spend eternity with me, Jesus, God, and everyone who believed in Jesus and that he died for their sins. He will save you, and yeah, you can spend eternity in heaven. So I just pray that you think about that. Without further ado, let's jump into this. And I mean, it's kind of, I mean, it's kind of small. I'm gonna try and zoom in maybe a little bit. There, that's better. So starting with the Thursday night game tonight, the Jacksonville Jaguars are traveling to Cincinnati. It's a battle of the number 1 picks, Trevor Lawrence versus Joe Burrow, and it just comes down to which team do I like more. You know, Trevor Lawrence has got James Robinson, Laviska Shenault, Marvin Jones, but the Jaguars haven't been playing well. And I just like the Bengals in this one. Joe Burrow, he's got Joe Mixon, Tyler Boyd, Jamar Chase, T. Higgins. Their line is a little bit sketch. I'm not a huge fan of their line. They got Jonah Williams, their 2019 first round pick. They got Jackson Carman, who they traded back for when they could have had Tevin Jenkins, which is a mistake on my part. Or I think it's a mistake. But I do like their defense. I think it's solid. They got obviously Jesse Bates, Von Bell. I like some pieces they got on their defense, and I like the Bengals in this matchup. Next up, the Texans at the Bills, and this one's pretty obvious for me. It's going to be the Buffalo Bills. Tyrod Taylor actually kept the Texans competitive, but just the Bills are just one of the best teams in the entire league, in my opinion. And yeah, so I'm going with the Bills. Yeah, just Josh Allen, Dawson Knox, Devin Singletary, Zach Moss, Stephon Diggs, Emmanuel Sanders, Isaiah McKenzie. Then on the defensive side, you got Micah Hyde, Jordan Poyer, Tre'Davious White. That team is really, really good, and they're starting to pick up where they were last season. So I'm definitely going with the Bills in this one. Next, we have the Colts at the Dolphins, and I'm going with the Colts because of the fact that I can't remember if Tua is he healthy? I don't think he's healthy, and I don't think he's going to start this game. And even then, Tua hasn't been playing great, and I like Carson Wentz. Jonathan Taylor needs to step it up. I mean, I have him in one of my fantasy leagues. Michael Pittman, Quentin Nelson. I mean, that's a decent team, but I like them over Miami, so that's why I'm going with the Colts. Next is the Titans at the Jets, and I'm going with the Titans for the simple fact that team doesn't know what's going on right now. They're beating themselves. As a Broncos fan, Zach Wilson threw 2 picks. Now, granted, one of them wasn't his fault. One of them went through the hands. I believe it was Braxton Berrios and into Caden Stern's hands. So there's that. But I am going with the Titans. I don't believe in the Jets this season. I think they're going to have one of the worst records. I think they're going to finish with a top 3 pick this season, if not top 2 or the number 1 overall pick. So I'm going with the Jets here. And, as a Broncos fan, I got to go with the Broncos. I'm pleasantly surprised by how Teddy Bridgewater is playing right now. Currently 3-0. He's taking care of the ball. He doesn't turn it over. He's taking the shots down the field. But when they're not there, he's throwing either the checkdowns or the short passes, picking up yards, moving the chains. Also, we got that 1-2 punch with Melvin Gordon and Javonte Williams. Not to mention the defense we got with Justin Simmons, Kareem Jackson, Patrick Surtain, Bryce Callahan, Kyle Fuller. That team is – our team's really good. The only problems and things that worry me is Josie Jewell is out, one of our top linebackers. So it's going to be Alexander Johnson, Justin Trinod, and Baron Browning in that inside linebacker role. Bradley Chubb is out for a little bit, but I trust in Malik Reed, so I'm not nervous there. But the other thing that I'm nervous about is Jerry Jeudy went down, and he's going to probably come back in about 2-ish weeks. The thing is we had KJ Hamler to replace him, but now KJ Hamler is out for the season with an ACL. So, it's this receiving core that worries me just a little bit because we got Cortland Sutton and Tim Patrick, sure, two beasts, but that third receiver is what worries me. We got Deontay Spencer, but I don't really. He's a great returner. How's he as a receiver? We'll have to see maybe more of that. I think we signed. I believe his name is David Moore, who we signed. Let me just double check this here, but it's just the receivers that make me nervous. But I do have us winning. Baltimore's a good team. They almost lost to the Lions last week in a trap game. But I think them coming to the Mile High City, the altitude is going to get them early, and I think we're going to start off 4-0 to the season. I will be coming back to the Chargers-Raiders game because it's Monday night, so I'll do that last. Next is Kansas City at Philadelphia. And as much as I want to pick Philadelphia, I'm going with Kansas City. Kansas City lost 2 in a row. Their defense is killing them, but they still got that offense, and I don't think the Eagles' defense right now is capable of stopping the Chiefs' offense. I think the Eagles' offense can keep up with that Chiefs' defense, but because of the Chiefs' defense being not that great, but I just don't think the Eagles' defense is super great, so I'm going with the Chiefs. Going with the Browns here, I personally think that besides the Buccaneers and the Rams, I personally think the Cleveland Browns are one of the most complete teams, both on offense and defense. And so they are going to possess one of the most difficult challenges. I do think that they should be undefeated, but of course they had that loss in Week 1 against Kansas City. But yeah, I do think the Browns are going to beat the Vikings this week. Pittsburgh at Green Bay, this is an easy one for me. It's going to be Green Bay. Pittsburgh is just, I don't trust them. Big Ben Roethlisberger is done. I think he needs to hang up and retire because he just doesn't have it in the tank anymore. Their defense is really good, and they got some good weapons. They can beat the Packers because they did look vulnerable Week 1 against the Saints. But to do that, you got to put the game in Najee Harris's hands. And so, can a rookie do that? I just don't have Big Ben take the deep shots. Just check it down to Najee, run it with Najee, and if Najee goes off, I do think he can beat the Packers. Next up, Tampa Bay at New England. I'm going with Tampa Bay. Brady's returning. He's going to want to get revenge on his former team. So, yeah, I do have the Bucs winning. I think they're a much more complete team than the Patriots. So, yeah, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are going to be the New England Patriots this week. Detroit Lions at Chicago Bears. This one is tough because I love Justin Fields. But I don't think right now the scheme he's in with Matt Nagy, I don't think he's that great. And you know what? Jared Goff looked pretty good against the Packers the other week. They almost beat the Ravens. So, you know what? Give me Detroit in this one. I don't trust the Bears with Matt Nagy as head coach. I don't think Matt Nagy's a great head coach. So give me the Lions in this one. Carolina at Dallas. This one's tough. Carolina's undefeated. Dallas, I don't know how I feel about them. I'm going with Dallas, though. I do believe in Dak Prescott. I'm not a huge fan of Zeke anymore. I think he's getting a little bit washed, in my opinion. But they have got some great playmakers with, obviously, Blake Jarwin is an underrated tight end, in my opinion. I could be just saying that because I go to Oklahoma State, so that might be a little biased there. But they're playmakers on the outside, and Amari Cooper, Michael Gallup, and CeeDee Lamb, I think, are phenomenal. And I think that can do some damage. But, Carolina's corners are nothing to sleep on. They got J.C. Horn. They just traded for C.J. Henderson. I do like that Carolina defense, but I do think that the 3-0 streak comes to an end. Next up is going to be Washington at Atlanta. I'm going with Washington. Originally, before the season even started, I thought this was going to be a no-brainer, easy pick, but right now it's not, because Washington is just not great. If I'm honest with you, their defense hasn't been as what we thought it was going to be. Now, granted, Ryan Fitzpatrick is out, and Taylor Heineke's coming in. And I'm still unsure of Taylor Heineke. I'm still trying to decide if he's kind of good or if he's bad. So let's just give it a couple more weeks, like 1 or 2, see how he looks, and we'll figure that out from there. Next, I'm going with the Saints over the Giants. I mean, this one's pretty easy. The Giants are just a mess right now, a complete dumpster fire. Them, the Jets, and the Jaguars, I think, are some of the worst teams. And the Saints, they showed what they could do against the Packers. James Winston looks solid, so if he can rekindle what he did in Week 1 there, I do think the Saints come away with the win, and pretty easily. Yeah, I think they should come away with the win no matter what, because the Giants are just not a great team at the moment. Next up, we have the Seahawks at the 49ers. I'm going with the 49ers. They almost beat the Packers. It's tough because their defense is really good, but when you look at the offensive side, they don't have any superstars other than George Kittle on the offense. Jimmy Garoppolo's a good quarterback for that system. They got a decent running back rotation. Not superstar receivers, but they're pretty good. Brandon Ayuk and Deebo Samuel. I just think it's all part of his Kyle Shanahan's scheme. But the Seahawks are going to be tough. But because I was kind of undecided here, I'm giving it to the team with the home field advantage in the San Francisco 49ers. And I like that defense with Nick Bosa. So let's see how they do. Next up, Arizona Cardinals at the Los Angeles Rams. Cardinals are undefeated. Rams are undefeated. Who will come out as the undefeated team at the end of this game? And to me, that's going to be the Rams. I think the Rams are a Super Bowl contender more than the Cardinals. You got Matt Stafford, who's always been a great quarterback. He's just been stuck on the Lions for his career. And then you look at the weapons that he has. He's got Sony Michel, because obviously Cam Akers is out for the season. And then you look at the receiving weapons. You got Tyler Higbee at tight end, who is a little more of an underrated tight end. Then you got Cooper Kupp and Robert Woods. And then they drafted, I believe, Tutu Atwell, who could be a good weapon. And then on their defensive side, obviously you got Aaron Donald and Jalen Ramsey, two of the best defensive players and two the best players at their positions. So I do think the Rams come away with this one, and they move to 4-0 while the Cardinals fall to 3-1. Although I do like DeAndre Hopkins on that team. I think Byron Murphy's pretty good. Budda Baker, obviously, but yeah, right now just the Rams I do think are the better team. And now finally, Monday Night Football, the Las Vegas Raiders at the Los Angeles Chargers. The Raiders are 3-0. The Chargers are 2-1. Both teams look really great. The AFC West is going to be super competitive. But which AFC West team is going to get the win here? I know the Raiders are 3-0, and they look solid. Chargers lost to the Cowboys, but they beat the Chiefs. They beat the Washington football team. So Chargers do have the technical home field advantage, although Raiders fans travel well, so I do expect that stadium to fill up. It's just, who do I trust more? Derek Carr, Justin Herbert. I like Justin Herbert's weapons better with Keenan Allen, Austin Eckler, and Mike Williams. I think the Chargers defense is very solid. I do think this is where the win streak comes to the end for the Raiders. I'm going with the Chargers to win on Monday Night Football, moving them to 3-1 and into second place in the AFC West behind, of course, my Denver Broncos. But yeah, those are my picks. Obviously, you all are going to disagree with me, so let me know what your picks are in the comments. And yeah, thank you for watching, and I'll catch you in the next video. Peace out.